Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Bhushan. I'm the creator of this YouTube channel B2 Tech. I will make videos on Java, Spring Boot, Spring MVC, Hibernate, JPA, and also the web development videos like JavaScript, TypeScript, Angular, React. So if you're interested in those videos, then make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon so that you will be notified whenever I upload a new videos. So in this video course, we will be creating a Spring Boot REST API and we're going to connect it to the MongoDB database. If you are following my YouTube channel from the longest time, you probably know that I have already created a video course on connecting to the relational database, which is a MySQL database. But in this video course, we will be connecting to the MongoDB database, which is a NoSQL database. So let's begin. Of course, the prerequisite to this course is you should already have a familiarity with Spring Boot and you should know how to create the REST API and how to perform the basic CRUD operations. So in this video course, we will be connecting to the MongoDB database and we will perform the basic CRUD operations. In the next part, we're going to add a validations to our application and we're going to improve our application. We're going to improve the REST API endpoints. And in the third part, we are going to deploy it to Heroku and we're going to connect to the MongoDB Atlas. So that's the goal of this video course. So let's begin. So in this video, we're going to create a Spring Boot application using the Spring Initializer and we're going to import it to the Eclipse IDE. So I will be using Eclipse IDE throughout this course. If you are familiar with IntelliJ IDEA or STS, then you can use those IDE as well. And I will be using Robo3T as a GUI application to connect to the MongoDB database. You can also use any other GUI based application to connect to the MongoDB database, but I will be using Robo3T throughout this course. So first step is to go to the Spring Initializer, which is start.spring.io. So this is the Spring Initializer which is created by Spring people. You can also create the Spring Boot application using the STS tool as well. If you are using a STS tool, you can create the Spring Boot application that will directly connect to the Spring Initializer. So since I'm using a Eclipse IDE, so I will manually come to this Spring Initializer website and I'm going to create the Spring Boot application. So I'm going to choose the project as a Maven project and the language which should be Java, and the Spring Boot version I'm going to choose 2.4.0. Don't choose snapshot or M2 versions because those are all not the stable versions. Make sure to choose the latest version which is 2.4.0 at the time of this recording. And the group ID, I'm going to call this in.Bhushan Sirgur, and the artifact ID, I'm going to call this Spring Boot MongoDB. So name, I'm going to leave it as it is, and the description, Spring Boot with MongoDB CRUD tutorial. So the package name, which is in.bhushansirgur.springboot.mongodb, and the packaging, that should be jar, and I'm going to choose the Java version 8. In case if you have installed the high versions, you can choose the 11 or the 15 which you have installed in your machine. And the dependencies, I'm going to add the 4 dependencies as of now. So the one is Spring Web and we are going to connect to the MongoDB database, so we need Spring Data MongoDB and we're going to use Lombok. It's a Java library and we're going to use DevTools. Alright, so we have added the 4 dependencies, which is Spring Web, Spring Data MongoDB, and the Lombok and the Spring Boot DevTools. And once you are happy with all your configurations, click on this generate. This is going to download this starter file in a zip format. So let's go ahead and open this. I'm going to open this in the Finder and let me copy this and I'm going to move it to the documents folder, and inside this workspace I'm going to paste it and I'm going to unzip it and I'm going to delete this zip file. Alright, so now let me close this Spring Initializer. Let me minimize my browser. I'm inside the Eclipse IDE. Let's go ahead and import the starter project. Let's go to the file and go to import. Select the existing Maven projects. Click next. Click on this browse and go to the folder where you have unzip your starter project. So in my case it's in the workspace, so I'm going to choose the Spring Boot MongoDB and click open. This is going to detect the pom.xml file and click finish. So now we are going to, so this is going to import it to the Eclipse IDE. So this will take a couple of minutes to download all the dependencies depending upon your internet speed. Alright, now we have imported the project and it has downloaded all the dependencies. So if you expand this project and if you go to the pom.xml, and you will see an error, unknown error. This is the most common error that you will get once you imported the project into your Eclipse IDE. This will not give you any problem when you're running the application, so you can completely ignore this. So now inside the pom.xml we have all our dependencies. So let me close this. Alright, now we have created this project and we have imported to the Eclipse IDE. In the next video we are going to create the model class, and we are going to create the controller, and we are going to create our REST endpoints. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we are going to create a model class, and also we are going to create a controller, and we are going to test our work. So let's begin. So inside the source main Java, I'm going to create a new package which is for model class. So the package name is model, and inside this model class I'm going to create a new class which is to do DTO, and I'm going to annotate this model class with a few annotations. Setter, this is for setter methods. Add getter for the getter methods, and all these annotations are coming from the Lombok package. And I'm going to use two more annotations, which is all args constructor, and we're going to use no args constructor as well. And we're going to use one more annotations, which is at document annotation. Much like when we are working with the relational database, we are going to use at entity. So when we are working with the MongoDB database, or when we are working with the NoSQL databases, we are going to annotate with the at document annotation. And this entire model class is mapped to a single document which is inside the MongoDB collection. So that's why we're going to use at document annotation, and we're going to specify the collection name instead of the table when we are working with the relational database. When we are working with the MongoDB, or when we are working with the NoSQL database, we are going to specify it as a collection. So the collection name, which is to-dos. Let me import all these annotations. Let's go ahead and define the fields. So the first field is ID, which is of type string, and we are going to create a to do, so which is of type string, and we are going to specify the description, so which is of type string, and we are going to create completed. We are going to specify whether the to do is completed or not, which is of type boolean, and I'm going to use timestamps. So private date created at, and private date updated at. So let's quickly import all these dates. Control Shift O, which is from the util package. So alright, now we have this should be string. Okay, so let's save this, and we're going to annotate the id property with the @id annotation, and let's import this id as well. Alright, so now we have created the model class, which is having the properties like id, the to-do name, description, completed, created at, and updated at. And now let's save this, and let's quickly create the controller. Before that, let's go ahead and create the repository. So I'm going to create a package to keep all our repositories, and this should be repository, and inside this package I'm going to create an interface, and this should be to do repository, and we're going to extend the interface with MongoDB Mongo repository, and click finish. And first I'm going to annotate this with the @repository annotation, and I'm going to specify the model class name, which is to do DTO, and the data type property, which is string, the primary key type, which is string, and let's import this. Alright, so let's save this. So now we have created the repository as well, and in the next video we are going to create a controller, and we're going to test our work. So we'll see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we're going to create a controller, and we're going to create a REST endpoint to retrieve all the documents from the MongoDB database, and we're going to test our work. So let's begin. So first I'm going to create a new package inside this source main Java, and I'm going to call this controller to keep all our controllers. And inside this package I'm going to create a new class, and I'm going to call this to do controller. First I'm going to annotate this class with the @REST_controller annotation, and inside this I'm going to auto wire the repository. So private to do repository, and I'm going to call this to do repo, and I'm going to annotate this with the @auto wired annotation. And I'm going to create a method public. This is going to return a response entity, and I'm going to call this get all to dos, and I'm going to annotate this method with @get mapping annotation, and I'm going to specify the path, which is /to-dos, and inside this we're going to make use of the repository to call the repository method do repo dot find all. This is going to return a list of to-dos. I'm going to call this list to do DTO. Let me import the list as well as the to do DTO. I'm going to write a condition to check the size of the list, to do dot size. If it is greater than 0, then we're going to return the list, return new response entity, and this is of type to do DTO, and we're going to return the to dos, and we're going to specify the HTTP status to OK. If the size is less than 0 or the list is empty, then we're going to return a message response entity no to-dos available, and the HTTP status, I'll set this to not found. So now let's save this. So now we have created a REST endpoint to retrieve the list of to-dos. So all we need to do is we have to test our work. So in order to test our work, we are going to download a REST client, but I have already downloaded the REST client, which is a Postman. You can use any other REST clients as well. So let me open my Postman. So this is my Postman, and I'm going to create a new collection. So click on this new button, and I'm going to create a collection, and I'm going to call this collection name as Spring Boot MongoDB, and click on this create, and I'm going to keep all the requests inside this collection. So let me close this. So first of all, we have to run our application. So let's go to the Eclipse, and we also need to connect to the MongoDB database. So inside the resources directory, and open the application.properties, and all we need to do is we have to specify the URL, the MongoDB URL, spring.data.mongodb.uri, and we're going to specify the MongoDB URL, which is MongoDB :/localhost dot, the localhost port is 27017. So I have already started the MongoDB database in my console. So let me open the console, and if you scroll up, you can see the default port number, which is 27017. You can see the MongoDB port number is 27017. So I'm going to specify the MongoDB port number 27017 / the database name. I'm going to call this to-do manager /API. Alright, the to-do manager API. Instead of manager, it should be to-do manage. Yeah, this looks fine. So to-do manage API. So let's save this, and all we need to do is we have to run our application. So let me open the main class, right click and click on this run as, and click on this Java application, and in the console we should see the messages. As you can see, it is running in the port 8080. So now let's go to the Postman, and I'm going to choose the GET request and localhost :8080 / I'm going to specify the URL, which is /todos, and let's go ahead and click on this send. We should get an empty request, or we are getting this no to-dos available because there is no to-dos available in the database. But if you go to the Robo3T, and if you click on this Command R or Control R on Windows, and we should expect the database, the empty database. So but some reasons it is not refreshing. So what I'll do is I'm going to manually refresh this. Okay, so the database will not be created once we are at least one document should be there, otherwise the database is not going to create in the MongoDB. So right now there is no records in the database, that is why it is going to return as no to-dos available. Okay, so next, when we are going to create a post request, at the time when we make a first request, or when we are storing for the very first time, that time the database will be created. Right now there is no records in the database, so that's why it is going to return no to-dos available. That's fine. So what I do is I'm going to save this request. So click on this save, and this is going to enter the request name. I'm going to call this read to dos, and I'm going to store that in the collection Spring Boot MongoDB. Click on this and click on this save, and now inside this collection we have one request. Anytime if you want to fire a request, you can come and click on this request, and you can click on this send. This is going to send the request. Okay, so now we have a 0 to dos in the MongoDB database. That's fine. In the next video we are going to create a post request to create a new to do. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we're going to create a REST endpoint to save the record inside the MongoDB database. So let's begin. Let me close this main class, and inside the to do controller I'm going to create a post mapping. So let me minimize this. So first of all I'm going to create some white space. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create a method public. This is going to return a response entity, and I'm going to call this create to do, and this is going to receive a parameter which is a add request body to do DTO, and I'm going to annotate this with a add post mapping annotation, and I'm going to specify the URL which is a /todos, and these to dos is different and this to dos is different. This is a get mapping and this is a post mapping, so don't get confused. So let me import the add post mapping as well, and inside this I'm going to write a try catch block. So inside the try I'm going to make use of the to do, because we need to set the created at timestamp. So we're going to use the to do dot set created at, and we're going to use the date constructor, and to this date constructor we're going to pass the system dot current milliseconds. Let me import the date from the util package. And next we are going to make use of the to do repository to save the to do object, to do repo dot save, and we're going to save the to do object, and then we're going to return new response entity to do DTO, and we're going to return the to do, the newly created to do, and we're going to specify the HTTP status to OK. And if something goes wrong, we are going to return new response entity with a status code of 500, get message, and we're going to pass the HTTP status to internal server error. Alright, so let's save this. So now we have created a post mapping to create the to do. So let's go ahead and test our work. So the application is running in the port 8080. Now let's go to the Postman, and this time I'm going to create a new request. So this should be of post and localhost :8080/todos, and I'm going to choose the body, and inside this body I'm going to select the raw, and instead of text we're going to specify the JSON, and inside this we are going to we are going to provide the body, so which is to do, and I'm going to provide the value buy me a coffee, and I'm going to add the description buy me a cup of coffee, and I'm going to set the completed to false. And alright, that's it. We don't need to specify the created at and updated at, because that will automatically add it when we are creating a new document. Okay, so now let's go ahead and click on this send. This is going to create a new record in the MongoDB database. You can see automatically it generates an ID and the to-do name, which is buy me a coffee, the description buy me a cup of coffee, completed, I'll set this to false, and created add and updated, that should be null. So let's go to the Robo3T and let's refresh the database, Control R, and okay, for some reasons it is not refreshing. Okay, now you can see to-do manager API. So if you expand this, you can see a collection to-dos, and you can click on this view documents, and you can see the newly created document, which is buy me a coffee. Okay, so let's go ahead and fire a new request, one more request. So let's go to the Postman, and this time I'm going to say pay internet bill, and this will be like pay Wi-Fi bill, and I'll set this to true and click send. We should get the response as a newly created to do, and if you go to the Robo3T, press Control R, we should expect one more entry, which is pay internet bill. Alright, now we have created a REST endpoint for creating a document or creating a to-do. In the next video, we are going to create a REST endpoint to retrieve the single document from the MongoDB database. That is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to create a REST endpoint to retrieve the single document from the MongoDB database. So before that, in the previous video, we have created this new request, but I forgot to save this request. So click on this down arrow key and click on this save as, and let's specify the request name. I'm going to call this create to do, and we're going to store that in the collection Spring Boot MongoDB, and click on this save. Okay, so now let's minimize this and let's go ahead and create a new request, public, and this is going to return a response entity, and I'm going to call this get single to do, and this is going to receive a parameter of type string ID. So path variable, and I'm going to specify the path variable ID, which is of type string and ID, and I'm going to annotate this with the @get mapping annotation, and I'm going to specify the URL / to-dos / and we're going to specify the path variable, and within the curly braces I'm going to specify the variable name, which is ID, and let me import the path variable, and inside this we're going to make use of the to-do repository to get the single we're going to find the to-do by ID. So to-do repo dot find by ID, and we're going to specify we're going to pass the ID, and this is going to return an optional to do. So optional to do DTO, and I'm going to call this to do optional, and let me import this optional from the util package, and I'm going to write a condition. If to do optional is present, then we're going to return a response entity to do optional dot get, and we're going to pass the status as 200, else return new response entity, and we're going to send a message to do not found with ID the ID which is looking for, the user is looking for, and we are going to pass the HTTP status to not found. So let's save this. So now we have created a REST endpoint to retrieve the single document from the database. All we need to do is we have to test our work. So let's go to the Postman, and first of all I'm going to switch to the read to dos and click on this send. So now we have these two entries. So let me take the second ID, which is pay Wi-Fi bill or the internet bill. So let's copy this, and I'm going to create a new request /todos/ the ID. I'm going to change this to get, and now we should get this pay internet bill document as a single document. So when I click on this send, we should get the single document. But if I go ahead and change this to something else, the different one, this is not available, and when I click on this send, we should get a message to do not found with the ID, the one which he is looking for. Okay, so which is not available. Let me switch back to the correct one, and we should get the document. So let's go ahead and save this request, and I'm going to call this read to do, and I'm going to store it in the collection Spring Boot MongoDB, and click on this save. Alright, so now we have created a REST endpoint to retrieve the single document, and in the next video we are going to updating the document. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we are going to create a REST endpoint for updating the to-do, and we are going to test our work. So let's begin. So what I'll do is I'm going to copy the same method which we have created in the previous video. Let's copy this and paste it in the down, and I'm going to change the get mapping to put mapping because we're going to update the document. So let me import this, and the URL that should be same, and I'm going to change the method name to update by ID, and the path variable, which is I'm going to leave it as it is, and we're going to accept one more parameter which is at request body, and to do DTO, which is to do, and we're going to first get the ID. So first we're going to get the to do from the MongoDB database, and if that object is available, then we are going to set the new entries. So to do optional dot get, and we're going to store that in a variable. I'm going to call this to do DTO to do to save, and then we're going to make use of this to do to save dot set completed, and first we're going to get the to do dot get completed is not equal to null. Then if it is not equal to null, which means the user is providing a completed option, so we're going to get the to do dot get completed, else we're going to get it from the previous the old value, which is from this to do to save object. So to do to save dot get completed, and we're going to repeat the same process for all other properties. Set to do, and first we are going to get the to do dot get to do is not equal to null. Then we are going to get the to do dot get to do otherwise we are going to do to save dot get to do, and we're going to do the same thing for description as well. Set description to do dot get description is not equal to null. Then to do dot get description, otherwise to do to save dot get description, and finally we are going to set the updated date. So to do to save dot set updated at, and we are going to create a new date object, and we're going to pass the current time milliseconds, and finally we're going to save the data. So to do repo dot save, and we're going to save the to do to save object, and finally we are going to return the response entity. Return new response entity. We're going to return the to do to save, and we're going to specify the HTTP status to OK. Otherwise we are going to do not found with the ID this, and yes, we're going to keep as it is the else part. So if the object is not found, then it is going to go to the else condition, and we're going to print a message to do not found with the ID, the one which is looking for. So now let's save this, and all we need to do is we have to test our work. So let's go to the Postman, and first let's go to the read to dos and click on this send. Right now we have 2 to dos, so I'm going to this pay internet bill, I'm going to set this completed to false. So let me copy this ID, and let's go to this read to do, and okay, this is fine, and all we need to do is we have to change this method to put, and inside the body let me change this, and right now this pay internet bill completed is true. I'm going to set this to false and click on this send. We should get the false, and you can also see the updated at timestamp. Okay, so you can also change any properties as well. For now we are only updating the completed part, so you can also update the to do description and all other things. Okay, so now the put is working, and let's save this request, and I'm going to call it as update to do and click on this save. So now we have completed the read to dos, create to do, read a single to do, and update to do. All we need to do is deleting a to do. So that is we're going to cover in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we're going to create a REST endpoint for deleting a document from the MongoDB database, and we're going to test our work. So let's begin. So inside the controller I'm going to create a new method, public, and this is going to return a response entity, and I'm going to call this delete by ID, and this is going to take the path variable as a parameter. And I'm going to annotate this with the annotation at delete mapping, and the URL, which is /todos/ the variable name, which is ID, and inside this I'm going to write a try catch block. Inside the try block, I'm going to make use of the to do repository, and I'm going to call delete by ID method by passing in the ID, and we are going to return new response entity, we are going to return a message successfully deleted with ID, the one which is looking for, and we are going to specify the HTTP status to OK. It's nothing but 200. If something goes wrong, if the to do is not found, then we're going to catch the error, return new response entity, and we're going to pass the message exception.getMessage, and we're going to pass the HTTP status to not found. Let's import the delete mapping. Alright, so let's save this. So now we have created a REST endpoint for deleting a document. All we need to do is we have to test our work. So let me remove this white space. Okay, so this is every time will happen. So there is something wrong with my Eclipse ID, so it will automatically shut down. So let me reopen it again. Alright, I have reopened my Eclipse ID. So let's go ahead and test our work. So let's go to the Postman, and first let's go to the read to dos and click send. We should get, okay, so the application is not running. So let's go ahead and start our application. Alright, the application is started and running on the port 8080. So let's go to the Postman and click on this send. We should get 2 to dos. Okay, so I'm going to delete the second one. So let me copy the ID and let's go to the update to do. Okay, so we already have a ID, so I'll change this to delete, and let's go ahead and click on this send. We should get deleted. So successfully deleted with the ID which we have specified. So now it is no longer available. So let's verify that in the Robo3T, and let's Control R, and you can see now we have only one record in the database. So let's go back to our Postman and let's save this request, save as, and I'm going to change this to delete to do. Let's save this. Alright, so now we have completed all the database operations, the CRUD operations, create, update, delete, and read, and this is completes the part 1. Okay, so we have created the Spring Boot application, and we have connected to the MongoDB database, and we have performed all the database operations, the basic database operations. In the second part, we are going to handle the validations, and we're going to improve the REST API. So that is coming up in the next video. So I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So far in this course, we have created the REST API and we have connected to the MongoDB database, and we have covered the basic database operations, which is create, read, update and delete. But there is one more thing we have to do. Right now, if the user go ahead and send a null values to the database, that will be stored in the database. So that's not we want. Okay, so before sending a null values, we have to validate whether if the user is sending null values or not. If the user is sending null values, we have to set up some validations and we have to show a proper validation messages to the user, so that we should not allow user to store null values in our database, so that we can improve our REST API. So in this part, we're going to learn how we can set up our validations and how we can improve our REST API. So let's begin. As of now, let's go ahead and open a Postman, and right now I'm going to remove this to do value and the description value, and let me click on this send, and you can see we get a response. But if you look at the response in the to do value and the description value, which is empty. So before sending like this, we have to show a proper message to the user, so that if the user is try to send a null values, or if the user try to save a null values, we can show those error messages or the validation messages. So let's see how we can do that. So let me open my Robo3T and refresh this, and let me delete these two records. So now we are in a clean slate. Okay, so let me open my Eclipse. So first we are going to add one more dependency, the starter dependency for the validation, so that we can add some validations to our REST API. So let me open my perform.xml, and the dependency that we're going to add is a starter validation, Spring starter validation. So let me copy this dependency and paste it in the down. Then we're going to change the bits that are required. So right now we don't need scope, and the artifact ID, which is Spring Boot starter validation. So let me save this, so that this is going to download this dependency. Okay, so now the dependency has been downloaded. So I'm going to shut down the server, because we are going to add some configurations. So when I save those files, it will automatically refresh the application, and this will throw some errors. So I have shut down my servers as of now, and let me close my pom.xml. We are done with this pom.xml. We have just added one dependency, which is the starter validation dependency, and the next thing is we are going to create a configuration file. So I'm going to create a one more package, and I'm going to call this config, and I'm going to annotate. Okay, so inside this I'm going to create a class. I'm going to call this validation config, and I'm going to annotate this class with the @configuration annotation, so that this will be registered at the time of the application startup, so that the Spring Boot will get to know that this is a configuration file, and the things which are going to define in this class will be a bean classes. Configuration, let me import this, and inside this I'm going to create two beans, and the one is validating Mongo event listener, which is an event listener, and another one is the local validator factory bean. So the local validator factory bean is an implementation class for the validator, and the validating Mongo event listener is a event listener, as the name suggests. So first let's write the code, and I'm going to explain what these two beans will do. So public validating Mongo event listener, this is an event listener, and I'm going to call this validation Mongo event listener, and we're going to return new validating Mongo event listener. To this event listener, we're going to call a method which is a validator method, and public local validator factory bean, and I'm going to call this validator. This is going to return local validator factory bean, and I'm going to annotate this with @bean, and this validator method I'm going to pass it to this validating Mongo event listener. So validator, and let's import all this. So now we have imported this, so this is not a Mongo validating, this is validating Mongo event listener. All right, so as the name suggests, this validating Mongo event listener is an event listener. This will be triggered before we persisting any data to the database, and while persisting the data, this is going to trigger if the user sends any null values. So this is going to trigger a constraint violation exception. So if the user is trying to save any data to the database, so before persisting any data, this is going to trigger, this event listener is going to trigger. And if the user is trying to save a null values in the database, and this is going to trigger a constraint violation exception, and that's the behavior we want, and that's the thing we want. So that's why we are registering this bean, and this local validator factory bean is the implementation class for the validation, and this we are going to pass it to this event listener, and these two are going to take care for us. So the long story short is we are registering these two beans just for the validation purposes, and this validating Mongo event listener is going to trigger constraint violation exception whenever the user is trying to send a null values to the database. So what are the null values, like for which fields, that we're going to do in the to do DTO. So we are going to annotate with @not null. So, and we can provide some custom message as well, which is to do cannot be null. So we are going to repeat the same thing for the description and the completed as well. So description cannot be null and completed cannot be null. So let me import this not null, and now we have added the @not null annotation for the properties, and we have created a configuration file for inside the package config. And the last thing is we have to create a global exception to catch those errors. So for that I'm going to create a new package. I'm going to call this exception. So what I'll do is instead of adding those exceptions inside this video itself, I'm going to take it to the next video so that it will be nicer to explain in the next video in detail. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to create a custom exception class. So let's begin. So in the previous video, we have already created this package exception, and inside this, I'm going to create a new exception class, which is to do collection exception. To do collection exception. This is going to extend the class, which is exception. Click OK and click finish. So let me add the serial version. Okay, so inside this I'm going to create a constructor to do collection exception, and this is going to take string as a parameter, and I'm going to pass that string to the super method, and I'm going to create two methods, which is one is for not found exception and another one is for to-do already exists, which means if the user trying to create a to-do with the same name, then we are going to raise that exception. Public static string not found exception, and we're going to accept the ID as a parameter, and we're going to return a string to do with ID not found. The second method, which is public static, this is also going to return string, which is to do already exists. Return, we're going to return a message to do with given name already exists. Okay, so now we have created this custom exception class so that we can use this exception in our controller to catch the exceptions. All right, let me save this. And the last thing what we have to do is I'm going to create a query method inside the to-do repository. So let me open my to-do repository. Okay, so we are going to create a query method for finding the to-do. Okay, so as I said, we are going to raise an exception if the user is trying to save a same to-do name or the to-do with duplicate to-dos. So for that we are going to write a query for finding a to-do. Okay, so if the to-do is already exist in the database, then we are going to throw that error. So let's go ahead and create that query method, so which is find by to do. So if you go to the to do DTO, and we have this property to do, and we're going to create a query method for that, find by to do, and this is going to accept the to do as a parameter, string to do, and this is going to return optional to do, optional to do DTO. Let me import that optional from the util package, and I'm going to annotate this with the add query annotation. And to this we are going to pass the parameter, or we are going to specify the property name. So within the curly braces, the property name, which is to do, and we're going to pass the parameter index. Okay, question mark 0. The parameter index starts from 0th index, so 0 index, which is nothing but the first parameter in the method. Okay, so let me import this query annotation as well. So now we are created this query method, and this query method is responsible for finding the to do by from the database. So if the user pass any to do name, and this is going to hit the DB, and this is going to retrieve that to do if it is available. Okay, so that's the goal of this find by to do method, and we're going to use this while we are creating the to do. So that we're going to do in our next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we're going to create a service interface and the implementation class for that. So let's begin. So what I'll do is I'm going to create a new package for the service, and I'm going to call this service, and I'm going to create an interface, and I'm going to call this to do service, and I'm going to create a implementation class for that, to do service IMPL. This is going to extend the interface, which is to do service, and click finish. So first of all, I'm going to annotate this with the add service annotation, and inside the to do service I'm going to declare a method which is public void create to do, and this is going to takes the to do DTO as an argument, to do DTO, and I'm going to call this to do. Let me import the to do DTO and inside the service implementation, and I'm going to implement that method. So first of all, I'm going to auto wire the repository private to do repository, and I'm going to call this to do repo. Let me annotate this with a auto wired annotation. All right, and now inside this create to do, I'm going to implement this. So I'm going to we're going to make use of the to do repo to call the find by to do, because first we have to check whether that the to do is available in the database or not. We have to check for the existence. So to do repo dot find by to do, and we're going to pass the to do dot get to do, and this is going to return an optional to do DTO, optional to do DTO. So to do optional, and then let me import the optional as well. We're going to check for the condition. If to do optional dot is present, if it is present, then we know that the user is trying to save the duplicate to do. Like if the user is trying to save that with the already existing to do, so for that we're going to throw an exception, throw new to do collection exception, and to do collection exception dot to do already exists. Else we are going to set the created at to do dot set created at, and a new date, and we're going to pass the system's current time milliseconds, and let me import the date as well from the util package, and then we're going to make use of the to do repo to call the save method by passing in the to do object. And this set created we already added in the controller. In the next video we're going to remove that, so we are going to add it inside this service, and we are getting this error. Let me add this throws to do collection exception, and also I'm going to throw the one more exception, which is constraint violation exception, constraints violation exception. So let me import this, and now inside this interface we are going to add the same declarations. We're going to throw from the service as well. Okay, I think this is constraint violation exception. All right, so let's copy this and paste it. Let me import it here. Okay, so now we have created a service method, and we are throwing that exception if the user is trying to save the duplicate to do. Okay, so let's save this, and in the next video we are going to refactor our controller, and we are going to test our work. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We are almost done. So all we need to do is we have to refactor our controller and we are going to test our work. So let's begin. So let me open the controller. First of all, let me close all of these tabs, like we don't need this validation config and we don't need this to do collection exception and we don't need this repository, and let me open this service and the implementation class, and let me close this to do DTO, and we have this to do controller. So inside the to do controller we have this post mapping. So what I'll do is, first of all, I'm going to remove this, okay, because we are setting this created at in the service layer, so we don't need this line of code. So let me remove this, and I'm going to auto wire the service. So at the top, private to do service, I'm going to call this to do service. So let me add auto wired and let's import this. So we are going to make use of this to do service to call the service method. So let me get rid of this. We are going to make use of the to do service to call the service method, which is create to do, and we are going to pass the to do object, and then we are going to return a new response entity to do DTO, and we're going to send the response as the newly created to do, and we're going to set the status to HTTP status to OK. If the user is trying to send a null values, we are going to catch that exception, and we are going to catch it as a constraint violation exception. Constraint violation exception, and we don't need to print the stack trace. If we want, we can print the stack trace, but we're going to send the get message as a response, and we're going to send the HTTP status as unprocessable entity. Processable entity, and also we're going to catch one more exception, which is to do collection exception. To do collection exception, which is return new response entity e dot get message HTTP status to conflict. Alright, so now we have refactored our handler mapping. So all we need to do is we have to test our work. So let me save this, and I'm going to start the application, run as Java application. So let's go to our Robo3D. Let me refresh this. As of now, there is no records. So what I'll do is, let me open the, alright, the application is started and running on the port 8080. Let me open my Postman, and what I'll do is I'm going to remove all of this from the body, and I'm going to try to send a null values. Okay, so when I click on this send, we do get an error message. Okay, you can see we are getting a validation messages, which is to do cannot be null, completed cannot be null, description cannot be null, which is great. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add the body, so which is to do buy fruits description buy fruits, and let me add this completed. Okay, so now let me remove this completed. Only I'm going to send the to do and description. Let me click on this send. Still we get an validation message, which is completed cannot be null. So until unless we met the requirements, we are not able to save the data in the database. So completed. I'll set this to false. So let me click on this send. Now we do get a response which is great. Okay, buy fruits false, and the updated it is null. Okay, so now I'm going to save the same record with the same name. So let's go ahead and click one more time, and we do get a validation message which is to do with the given name already exists. So let me send this to buy vegetables. When I click on this send, it will be stored in the database. Okay, so this is all about post mapping or creating a new record. So now we have set up some validations, and the user cannot able to store the null values in the database. So we are going to show a proper error messages to the user if he is going to store a null values. So the same thing we are going to do for all of our other handler mappings, like the put mapping, delete mapping, and the list of records and everything. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to refactor the get mapping. So let's begin. So let's go to the to-do service, and I'm going to declare a new method for retrieving the records or retrieving the documents from the database. Public. This is going to return a list of to-do DTO. I'm going to call this get all to-dos. Let me import the list from the util package, and let's go to the implementation class, and I'm going to implement this method. Let me minimize this. I'm going to remove these comments. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'm going to make use of this to do repo to call the repository method. To do repo dot find all. This is going to return list of to-dos, list to do DTO. I'm going to call this to-dos, and I'm going to write a condition to check the size of the to-dos. If to-dos dot size is greater than 0, I'm going to return the to-dos. Else I'm going to create an empty array list, and then I'm going to return it. Return new array list, which is of type to do DTO. So now we have created the service method, which is retrieving the list of to-dos. Let me save this, and let's go ahead and refactor the controller. So let's go to the controller, and we have this get mapping for retrieving all the to-dos. So let me change this to do service, and we do not have a method find all. So what we're going to do is we're going to call method which is get all to-dos. This is going to return the to-dos. Let me get rid of this if condition because we have already transferred that code to the service layer. So all we need to do is we have to return the response entity. So return new response entity. We are going to send the to-dos as a response, and the status, which is to-dos dot size is greater than 0, then HTTP status to OK, otherwise not found. HTTP status dot not found. Okay, this is like this. Okay, so let's save this. So now we have refactored the controller as well. All we need to do is we have to test our work. So let's first go to the Robo3D. What I'll do is I'm going to refresh the Robo3D. Right now we have 2 records. Let me wipe these 2 records. So now let's go to the Postman, and if the user click on this read to dos, we do get an empty array list, which is great, and we can see the status code, which is 404 not found. So now if the user go ahead and create a new to do, and the to do has been created. Now if the user go ahead and click on this read to dos, and we do get a response as a one single to do, and we can see the status as 200. Okay, which is great. So alright, now we have refactored the get mapping as well. In the next video we are going to refactor the one more get mapping, which is getting a single document from the MongoDB database. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the previous video we have refactored the get mapping, which is for retrieving all the documents from the MongoDB. And in this video we are going to refactor the one more get mapping, which is retrieving a single document from the MongoDB database. So let's begin. So let's go to the service and let's declare a new method, public. This is going to return to do DTO, and I'm going to call this get single to do, and this will accept the ID as a parameter, which is of type string, and of course this is going to throw an exception, which is to do collection exception. Let's save this, and now inside our to do service implementation we are going to implement that method. Okay, so what we need to do is first we have to make use of this to do repository to call the repository method, which is find by ID. So let's do that. To do repo dot find by ID, and we're going to pass the ID as a parameter, and this is going to return an optional to do DTO, optional to do DTO. I'm going to call this optional to do, and now we're going to check whether the to do is present or not. If optional to do is present, but I'm going to flip this using a logical not operator, because we're going to throw an exception. If the to do is not present, then we're going to throw an exception. We're going to throw a to do collection exception, to do collection exception dot not found exception, and we're going to pass the ID to it. Else if we found a to do, then we're going to return it back. Return optional to do dot get. So let's save this. So now we have a service method which will retrieve the to do. So all we need to do is we have to refactor our request mapping. So let's go to the controller, and we have this get mapping. So what I'll do is I'm going to get rid of this code. Inside this try catch block, inside the try block, I'm going to make use of this to do service to call the service method. So return new response entity, we're going to make use of the to do service dot get single to do by passing in the ID, and we're going to send the HTTP status to OK. If something goes wrong, we are going to catch that exception and we are going to return new response entity, and we're going to print a message, get message, and the HTTP status not found. Let's save this. So now we have refactored the get mapping, which is responsible for retrieving a single document. So now let's go ahead and test our work. So let me open my Postman. So before that, let's go to Robo3T and let's see how many records do we have. Okay, we have one record. So let's go to the Postman and let's go to the read to dos and click on this send. We do get one record. So now let's copy this and let's go to the read to do, read a single to do, and let's get rid of this ID and paste the one which you have copied and click on this send. We do get a single document, which is fine. So now let's go ahead and I'll change the last character to 9. Of course, this is not present. Let's see what do we get as a response. So when I click on this send, we do get a message to do with that ID is not found, and if you look at the status, we are getting 404 not found, which is a great thing. Alright, so now we have refactored the retrieving a single document, and in the next video we're going to refactor the put mapping and the delete mapping. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video we're going to refactor the put mapping, which is updating a document. So let's begin. So let's go to this service interface and let's declare a new method which is public, and this is going to return void, and I'm going to call this update to do. And of course this is going to take two parameters. One is the document ID, which is of type string, and the second parameter is of course the updated document. So to do DTO, and I'm going to call this to do. So this is going to throw us an exception to do collection exception, and let's save this, and inside this implementation class we are going to override that method. So let me get rid of these comments, and first we have to retrieve the document. So we're going to make use of the repository method to do repo dot find by ID, and we're going to pass the ID. This is going to return an optional to do DTO, and I'm going to call this to do with ID. And now we're going to check for the condition. If to do with ID is present, then we know that we do have a object. Else we're going to throw a new exception to do collection exception, to do collection exception dot not found exception, and we're going to pass the ID to it. If we found an object, first we have to get that object. So to do with ID dot get, and I'm going to store that in a variable to do DTO, and I'm going to call this to do to update. So inside this, we're going to update the, we're going to set the values. So to update dot set to do, and we're going to set the to do dot get to do to update dot set description, to do dot get description, to do to update dot set completed, to do dot get completed, to do to update dot set updated at. We're going to make use of the new date operator, date constructor. To this we're going to pass the system dot current milliseconds, and finally we are going to call a repository method to do repo dot save, and we're going to pass the to do to update. Alright, this is fine, but we're missing one piece of puzzle, which is what if the user is having if the user is trying to save a duplicate to do, like if the to do is already exist and if the user is trying to update the record with already existing to do. Okay, so at the time also we have to check whether the to do is exist or not. So for that, again we are going to make use of this to do repo dot find by to do, and we're going to pass the to do dot get to do, and this is going to return an optional to do DTO, and I'm going to call this to do with same name. So now if we found an, like we are going to write this condition to do with id dot is present. If it is present, then also we are going to check for the to do existence. So for that we are going to write one more condition: if to do with same name is present and to do with same name dot get, we're going to get the object and we're going to check the id, get id equals the id. If it is not equal, we're going to add a logical not operator. Then we're going to throw an exception, throw new to do collection exception, to do collection exception dot to do already exists. This is dot fine. Okay, so first we're going to get the object from the repo and we're going to check whether that object is present or not. If the object is present, then we are going to check whether the to-do is exist or not. If the to-do is exist, then we're going to throw an exception. If it is not, then we're going to get the to-do object and we're going to set the values to the to-do object and we're going to save it in the database. So let's save this. And now we have to refactor the controller. So let's go to the controller. And we have this put mapping. So now let me get rid of this if condition, if else condition, because we have moved this to our service layer. So let me get rid of this. So all we need to do is we have to make use of the service to call a service method. Let me add a try catch block. So inside the try block, we're going to make use of this to do service to call a service method which is update to do, and we're going to pass the ID as well as the to do. And then we're going to return a response entity, return new response entity, let me send a message, update to do with ID, and we're going to pass the ID. And we're going to send the HTTP status to OK. So inside the catch block, if something goes wrong, we're going to catch that exception, and we're going to catch the exception which is constraint violation exception, and we're going to return new response entity, get message http status dot unprocessable entity, and we're going to catch one more exception which is to do collection exception, return new response entity. We're going to call a get message method and http status dot not found. So let's save this. So now we have refactored the put mapping, request mapping as well. So all we need to do is we have to test our work. So let's go to the Postman, and first let's go to this read to dos, and let's send this off, and we do get this one response which is buy vegetables. So right now in the description we have this buy fruits, so let's change this to buy vegetables itself. Okay, so let's copy this ID, let's copy this, and now let's go to this update to do, and let me get rid of this and paste in. Let's go to the body, and let me go to this read to dos, and what I'll do is I'm going to change this description, right? So this is going to be a description by vegetables. Okay, so for this itself, if I go ahead and send a request, and we do get validation messages which is to do cannot be null and completed cannot be null, we have to pass the completed and the to do as well. So let's go to the to dos, and let's take this to do, and completed. Let me add a comma here. So let's see what is there completed. Okay, let me set this to true. Okay, so now we have this buy vegetables and completed. Let's go ahead and send this off, and we can see to do updated to do with ID, that ID. And now if I go ahead and read the to dos, and we do get buy vegetables and the completed which is set to true, and you can see the updated at and created at, which is fine. Alright, so now we have refactored the put mapping which is updating the to do, and in the next video we are going to work on the delete mapping, and we're going to refactor it, and we're going to finish off this refactoring code. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we are going to refactor the at delete mapping. So let's begin. So let's go to the to do service, and we're going to declare a new method which is public and delete to do by ID, and this is going to return void delete to do by ID, and this will takes the ID as an argument, and of course this is going to throws to do collection exception. Let's save this, and inside this service implementation I'm going to implement the method. Alright, so first we are going to make use of this repository to call the find by id method to do repo dot find by id, and we're going to pass the id. This is going to return an optional to do DTO, and we're going to call this to do optional, and then we're going to check for the condition to do optional is not present. We're going to add a logical not operator. If it is not present, we're going to throw an exception, which is very straightforward. To do collection exception dot not found exception, and we're going to pass the id to it. If it is found, then we're going to return it, or we're going to delete it. To do repo dot delete by id, and we're going to pass the id to it. Let's save this. So now we have refactor, like we have added a service method which will takes care of deleting the document. All we need to do is we have to refactor the controller or the request mapping. So let's go to the controller, and we have this delete mapping. So inside this try catch block, I'm going to make use of this service. So to do service, and we're going to call this delete by id, delete to do by id, and we're going to pass the id to it, and then we're going to return a response entity. Return response entity successfully deleted with id, the id, and we're going to pass the http status to OK. If something goes wrong, we're going to catch the exception, so which is to do collection exception, and we're going to return a response entity e.getMessage and the http status to not found. Okay, so let's save this, and now let's go ahead and test our work. So let's go to the Postman, and let's go to the read to dos, and let's take this id, and let's go to the delete to do. Let's change this to the one which we have copied. So let's go ahead and change the last character to 9. So now when I click on this send, we do get an error message like to do with the id one which we are looking is not found, which is throwing an correct exception. So now let's switch back to the one which is the earlier one, and now when the user click on this send, which will be deleted from the database, successfully deleted with the id, and you can see the status to 200. Okay, so now let's go to the read to dos, and when I click on this send, we do get an empty array because there is no records in our database. Alright, so far we have completed, like we have refactored all the request mappings, like all the database CRUD operations like create, read, update and delete. So first we have, in the first part we have created the REST API which does not contain any validations. In the second part we have improved our REST API by adding some validations. So now the user cannot send any null values or store the null values. So because we have set up some validations, so the user has to provide some values to the database, so to the values to the REST APIs before sending to the database. Alright, so now we have covered everything what we have promised, and the last part is deploying it to the production. So the next part, we're going to deploy this application to the Heroku, and we're going to set up a database in our MongoDB Atlas. So that is coming up in the next part. I will see you in the next part. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So far in our course we have covered so many things. In the first part, we have created the Spring Boot application and we have connected to the MongoDB database, and we have performed the database operations like creating a document, reading the document, updating the document, and deleting the document. And in the second part, we have improved our REST API by setting up some validations so that user cannot able to store the null values or the save the null values if he tries to save the null values, and we're going to show some validation messages or the error messages so that the user can send a proper values or the valid values to the MongoDB database. And in this part, we are going to set up a production database, and we are going to connect to that production database through the Spring Boot application, and we are going to deploy our Spring Boot application to the live web server. So let's begin. In fact, there are so many services available online which provides the production databases. We can provision the production databases for the MongoDB. In fact, the MongoDB team itself has provided a service which is called MongoDB Atlas. It's a cloud-based MongoDB database. We can connect to that MongoDB database and we can maintain our documents inside that database. They are also having a provided two plans. One is a free plan and a paid plan. So we will be using the free tier. In fact, that is only for the hobby purposes. If you are creating any hobby project or any personal projects, then you can use that free tier. In case if you are going for any client projects, then make sure to use the paid version because that will be more robust. Okay, so now let's go to the browser and see how to set up the production database. So let's go to the browser and search for MongoDB Atlas, and make sure to select the first link, which is from mongodb.com. First, you need to create an account inside this MongoDB Atlas. You don't have to provide any credit card information for creating the account. It's a free account. Go ahead and create a free account. So once you have created the free account, you will be landed on the home page of this MongoDB Atlas, and by default it has been created a new project. So in your case, the project name would be cluster 0. So in my case, I have created a project name as Spring Boot and MongoDB. By default, the project name would be cluster 0. Okay, so inside this cluster, automatically once you have landed on this page, it will automatically start creating the cluster. You don't have to go ahead and create a cluster. Inside this cluster, we're going to create the database. So in my case, I have created a separate project for this. It is not creating any cluster, so I will be manually go ahead and creating the cluster. But in your case, it will automatically, after you signed up, automatically you will be landed on this home page, and it will be created a project as well as the cluster. So I'll go ahead and create a cluster, and it will ask you to choose the cluster, the dedicated multi-region, dedicated clusters, and the shared clusters. Make sure to choose the shared clusters because that will be free. And you have to choose a couple of options, which is AWS, the provider, and I will be choosing Mumbai because that is very close to my location. I will be living in India. In case if you are living in another country, make sure to choose the nearest location for you. And the cluster tier M0, and the additional settings, which will be MongoDB 4.2, cluster name, cluster 0, leave it as it is. And once you are happy with all of these configurations, just click on this create cluster. So this will take a couple of minutes to create the cluster. So I will pause the video and I will come back once the cluster has been created. Alright, the cluster has been created. This would take around 2 to 3 minutes to create this cluster. Right now there is no data inside the cluster. So all we need to do is go ahead and click on this connect button. And now we have to set up a few things. So we have to add an IP address so that we can connect to this cluster from anywhere in the world. So for that, we are going to set up an IP address. So click on this add a different IP address, and the IP address which we are going to add is 0.0.0.0/0, and click on this add IP address. So that will complete adding an IP address. And the second step is to create a database user. I'm going to call this task manager, and the password also I would choose task manager. make sure to note down the password, because we are going to use this password inside our application.properties inside our Java project. So make sure to note down the project or make sure to remember this password. And once you have given the username and password, click on this create database user. And the next step is we have to choose the connection method. Click on this choose connection method. In fact, there are three ways to connect to the MongoDB to get the connection, and the one which we are going to use is connect using MongoDB Compass. MongoDB Compass is a tool. It is a GUI application just like Robo3T, which will help us to connect to the MongoDB URL to this MongoDB database. In fact, from the Robo3T we cannot connect to this cluster because the Robo3T does not have provide an option for that. Maybe in the future they are going to address this issue. As of now, they are not supporting to connect to this MongoDB Atlas. So that's why we are going to install the MongoDB Compass. So make sure to go ahead and choose your platform and download the software. I have already downloaded and installed, so take your time and download it and install it. So I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I believe you have installed the MongoDB Compass. So let's go ahead and open MongoDB Compass. So for the first time, this will take a couple of seconds to open the MongoDB Compass. So wait for some time. Alright, now we have opened the MongoDB Compass. So click on this fill in connection fields individually, and here we're going to provide the host name. So let's go to our browser, and the host name, which will be starts from after the @ symbol, cluster0.sometext.mongodb.net. So make sure to copy this host name and open the MongoDB Compass and paste it, and the port number leave as it is. Like, we don't have to touch anything about this port. Just click on this SRV record because we're going to add the SRV record. And the authentication, we do have authentication, which is username and password, and the username, which is task manager, and the password, which is also task manager, and the authentication database, which will be admin. And once you are happy with that, you can click on this connect. Also, you can go to the more options and you can set the replica name and the read preferences and all other options. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and click on this connect. Alright, now we have connected to this database. So now all we need to do is, right now there is no databases, so now we have to create a database. Like, we have to create a collection inside this database. And but what I'll do is I'm going to take this URL, which is this SRV URL. Make sure to copy this, and let's go to our Eclipse and go to the application.properties, and I'm going to comment this, and in the down I'll paste the URL and make sure to change the password. I'll change this to task manager, and I'll copy this property and I'll paste it in the down and equal to this, and the database which we are going to use to do manage API, just copy this database name and paste it and shut down the server and restart it again. Now we should be able to connect to the production database through our Spring Boot application. Alright, the application has been started, you can see. And now let's go to the Postman and let's go ahead and fire a query. So let's click on this create to do and go to the body, and let's go ahead and click on this send, and it should return a response which is this. And now let's go to our MongoDB campus and just refresh this. We should get a database to do manager API, and when you click on this, we do have this to-dos collection, and inside this we do have a record which we have created just now, which is order mobile. Okay, so let's go ahead and try one more time, and I'll change this to order food, and when I click on this send, we do get the response. And let's go to the MongoDB campus and Control R. This will reload the Explorer, and we do get a 2 documents. Alright, so now we have set up the production database, which is available on the MongoDB Atlas, and in the next video we're going to deploy this application to Heroku, and we're going to test our work. So that is coming up in the next video. I will see you in the next video. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we're going to deploy our application to the live web server. So the web server which we are going to choose is Heroku. It's a cloud platform where you can deploy the Java applications. Not only Java, you can also deploy other languages as well. So but for now we are going to stick to the Java. So the plan is first we have to push our code to the GitHub repository. From GitHub we are going to push it to the Heroku. So let's go ahead and push it to the GitHub first. So let's go to the browser, and first you need to create a account in Heroku. I have already created an account in Heroku. It's completely free. You don't have to provide any credit card information. So go ahead and create an account inside the Heroku. Once you have created the account in Heroku, then come back to this GitHub. So I'll go ahead and create a new repository. I'm going to call this Spring Boot MongoDB YouTube playlist. Pretty big name, that's fine. And I'll choose this as public and click on this create repository. Okay, now let's go to the Eclipse, and I'm going to push this to the GitHub repository. So show local terminal. You can also choose git bash in case if you have git bash. So git init, I have initialized the git. So git status, git add, and dot, this will add all to the staging area. Then git commit -m initial commit, and then I'm going to push it to the GitHub repository. First we need to add git remote. So let's copy this, paste it, now git push origin master. This is going to push it to the GitHub repository. This will ask me to enter the GitHub username and password. Alright, we have pushed our code to the GitHub master branch. So if you go to the browser and if you reload this, you should see the project that has been inside this Spring Boot MongoDB YouTube playlist repository. Alright, so now let's go to the Heroku and click on this create new app, or you can also create it here. You can also install the Heroku CLI and inside your local system, and you can push it from the Heroku CLI, but I will prefer this way. Click on this create new app. The app name, which I'm going to call this MongoDB Spring Boot B2 Tech, and you can see this is available. And now I'll go ahead and click on this create app. Okay, so now we are going to choose the GitHub, the way to deploy application. I will choose GitHub, and first we need to connect to the GitHub. Connect it to GitHub. Okay, it has been created, it has been connected to my GitHub repository. So now search for repository Spring Boot MongoDB and click on this search. It will display all the available repositories. I'm going to choose this one which we have just now pushed it. Click on this connect. This is automatically detect the Java application. Okay, first we have to choose which branch you have to deploy. I'm going to deploy the master branch and I'm going to enable the automatic deploys. Click on this automatically deploys and then click on this deploy branch. This is going to deploy the master branch to the Heroku platform. You can see it has been detected the Java and it is going to first install all the dependencies. So very first time this will take a couple of minutes depending upon your internet speed. Alright, the application has been deployed and this is the URL. Just go ahead and copy this URL. I think I have copied the URL. Let me go to this where I am. Okay, let's go to the Postman, and what I'll do is I'll open a new tab. Okay, I think I have not copied it. That's fine. Let's go back to our Heroku. I will check. Okay. Let's go to this view logs. I think inside the view logs we do get our URL, the deployed URL. Okay, what we can do is let's go to this settings, and if you scroll down, okay, here it is. So app name, let's copy this app name and go to this https:// and the URL slash, what is the URL for to-dos / to-dos. Okay, to-dos, and when I click on this send, alright, we are getting some exception. Okay, this is not a B2Tech only, b2tech.herokuapp.com, and when I click on this send, we do get 2 to-dos. Yes, we are getting 2 to-dos. Alright, so now we have deployed our application to the production server and our app is live. So you can use this URL to test our work, but as soon as I upload this video to the YouTube, I'm going to remove this application as well as I'm going to deactivate the MongoDB database, the cloud database as well. So I have just shown you the demo purpose for you guys, so make sure to try out yourself and you can learn the things, how to deploy to the production database, how to provision the production database, and how to deploy to the Heroku platform. So that's all about this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video series as much as I enjoyed, and in case if you learned something out of this video course, then make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video with your friends and colleagues. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next series.